Welcome, everyone, to MS Confidential, where we gather monthly for candid conversations about life with multiple sclerosis and, by default, other chronic illnesses. And guess what? It's our 20th second, not our 20th anniversary. It's our 2-year anniversary. Got way ahead of myself. But let's set our sights on a 20-year anniversary someday. To celebrate, we wanted to have a light and easy and potentially deep conversation where the audience can ask anything they want to any or all of the panelists. Unfortunately, we are shifting a little bit because our friend Kyle is very sick, and we just learned that about 5 minutes ago. So he's not going to be joining us. So it is myself, Lisa, Annie, and Elizabeth, but mostly we're going to have a really deep discussion between the two of them, or light and funny. It doesn't matter, really. But this will be really cool because we don't often get the opportunity to hear the two of them share an intimate conversation. But if you do have questions, don't hold back. They will be also ready and willing to share their answers to your questions. And if you have them, put them in the chat box. So today we have Elizabeth Jamieson, the director of MS Confidential, artist, writer, and patient advocate. And we also have Annie, assistant professor at Harvard, practicing physician, and author and founder of Health Story Collaborative. My name is Kimberly. I am the founder of Unfixed. And as always, I'm here to just throw in some thoughts and questions that are pertaining to some of my own inquiries around chronic illness. Okay. Annie,
All right.
You have anything you want to jump in and ask each other?
I want to just say at the outset, Kimberly, you have to be part of the conversation because you're here,
okay. I'm here.
You have so much to add. So this is a three-way, whether you like it or not, right?
Okay. I don't have a lot of practice with three-ways.
We can do this. We can do this.
Four-way.
Four-way.
Yeah. Lisa.
Oh, if Lisa wants to join us on screen, I would love it.
I'll be in a little bit later. I'm just going to be paying attention to y'all.
All right. So, gosh, there's so much to talk about. I could talk to Elizabeth and Kimberly forever. You guys have so much to offer. I'm just going to go right for it. I'm going to go right for it. I'm going to say, Elizabeth, does it ever make you feel angry that like someone like me has MS, but is like doing okay with it and like doesn't have the physical disabilities, and you have so many? And does that ever make you feel angry? Like, let's be real. I can handle it on anger.
It never has made me angry. Don't have anger. Never have. Maybe I have and I'm repressing it. But I never felt why me. Feel like why not me? Like life is
yeah. Well, it's interesting. It's not necessarily a why me, but like even like I notice like sometimes I'm going through my emails, and if it's even like this is not related to MS, but if it's like from the hospital I work in and the department that I'm like, fuck off, delete, and I say fuck off out loud as I delete. Like I have anger that comes out sometimes, and it might just be like, oh, annoying, fuck off. Do you ever feel like fuck off? I mean, I know you have the whole fuck you essay, that's separate, but like to people who have MS who might say something, but it doesn't quite meet where you're at because you're at a very advanced stage. Do you ever feel fuck off?
God, I don't think so. But maybe I
no, you would know.
Maybe I direct it all to my husband. Poor thing. I need a target for my anger. I get more upset with friends who are traveling and doing wonderful vacations.
Yeah.
And I get jealous.
Yeah.
But
so
then
not so much anger, but maybe like jealousy, disappointment. Or
yeah.
what would you?
Yeah, but I'm so thrilled with my life right now.
I'm
I
so
really
glad.
am. So I live a great life. I have lots of s- Thanksgiving for everything that's I've been doing. I love it. And I love the fact I know you, Kimberly and Annie. I just love my friends.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, all right. Then I have a friends question because I have some really, really good friends, but I feel like there are very few that I actually can be. I mean, I'm a pretty open person. I'm a pretty open book, but there are very few that I can be like 100% real with. And like you said, like sometimes the anger only comes out at your husband. Sometimes my anger only comes out at my husband. Like I cordon that off a little bit, but there's one or two friends that I can be real. I don't know. I think I'm bad at asking for help, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like I'm bad at really saying, actually, I'm really in this bad shape and I need you to hold me or whatever it is. Like,
Mhm.
do you feel you have that with your friends?
I no.
Yeah.
I'm remembering a conversation that was probably a year ago, Elizabeth, and you were looking forward to having a Zoom meeting with your sisters. This was in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I think I remember you talking about feeling some disappointment, maybe not anger, but some disappointment around the way that they were able to engage with you. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah. Yeah. That we have a really unusual relationship. We like each other, and but we're not intimate at all. They never
Yeah.
ask me, "What's it like having MS? What's
Mhm.
it like not to travel with MS?" They they don't seem capable of expressing curiosity,
Yeah.
and I think that's just them. I have to love them the way they are, and
Mm.
Were they curious about your life before your diagnosis? Or were they just generally not good at asking
they're
penetrating questions?
yeah, they're not good at
Yeah.
asking deep questions.
I have that a little with my siblings. Like, well, I love them, but they don't go there. And sometimes I do get sort of annoyed personally that they don't always, ask me personal questions about how I'm doing. And they are very surface level. And it's not so much anger, maybe it's sadness that I feel like the
Yeah,
intimacy isn't
sadness.
realized.
Mm.
Why do you think that is with your sisters?
Sorry,
I
I
think
got
that was to that. Say that question again,
say it
Elizabeth.
again because this is my life. I had to just tell them what to order me for takeout. No one can make a decision without me.
What are you ordering? I want to know.
Yeah, what did you
I
order?
mean, because this is me. This is progress for me to be like, it's 6 o'clock in the East Coast. I
Yeah.
am not making dinner. So somebody
Yeah.
has to friggin' think about it. But apparently they can't think about it without me. Even though I get the same thing
What did
every
you get? What is it?
Cactus Burger. It's a veggie burger. It's a burger place called Wild Willie's. A
Cactus?
veggie burger, but no one can handle like retaining that in their brain. Is it anger I'm feeling or is it disappointment? I
Well,
mean,
you're super responsible, Annie. I mean,
I
all the
am. It's
you're taking
true.
care of people. And I can understand how that would be for like you're like, I'm home now, someone take care of me. Like,
Can someone remember what my order is?
yeah,
Really, I get the same thing every time.
Yep.
But I think this relates to sort of our expectations of people, which relates to what we're talking about, even though I missed the question, which will about, the siblings who don't ask and the expectations. And what did you ask me, Elizabeth?
Why do you think they don't ask?
honestly, like, I think reason number one may be that they just like is it self-absorbed or not curious, or I just think they don't think about it. Like, I don't think they're thinking, I have that thought in my mind, but I'm not going to ask it. I think it just never comes into their mind,
Mm.
which bothers me, but I
Mhm.
don't think they think to ask. I think they're caught up in their own lives. Or they don't stop to pause and think, like, what does this mean for Annie's life, that this is part of her existence? I don't think they think that.
Right.
I had an interesting experience recently, and I think I mentioned this to you, Annie, because I have felt that way my whole life. I've always been the quiet one in the family that processes my emotions, internally, and everyone else is loud and vocal. And then I'm carrying around the assumption that they don't care and da 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 da. So, not that it should take writing a memoir, but having spent the last 3 years or whatever putting all this together and then sharing it, going to Kinko's, printing it out for my brother and my mom and having them read it, I was, and still am, blown away by the level that they took it in. Like,
I'm
truly.
so like, yay for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yay
Like,
for them.
sitting me down saying, hey, let's go to breakfast. And like, my brother brought the whole 300-page manuscript and like had stuff underlined and this, like, let's talk about, I still get goosebumps because I was so moved by this person that I love and always have loved, but I just didn't think he understood me or cared to understand me. And then all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, I think I had that wrong, or he just finally decided to show up. I don't know.
Well, that's amazing. And let me just say, for if anyone's listening, the memoir is amazing. Amazing. It is amazing. It's amazing. Everyone should read it.
Oh,
Seriously, it is. I'll say though, I had the like, not mine, what I wrote a book, a year ago, but it wasn't a memoir, but it had a lot of personal stuff in there. My family did not read it. I mean, my mother read it. My sister and brother, I don't think they've ever read it.
oh,
And they know about it, but and the only thing my brother said is he read the first chapter and he was like, whoa, he's not supporting my dad, but he's like, ooh, that must be rough to read for dad. But that's it. That's all I got. And he didn't read the rest. So that's weird. Like, I feel like if one of them wrote a book, of course I'd read it. Right. So
yeah.
yeah, but let's not go out on a tangent about how I feel dismissed by my family, but I do. Read Kimberly's memoir. Well, let's stop there. But I don't know, like, I guess I want to say to you, or ask you, Elizabeth, like, do you feel like your family shows up?
I don't think either sisters have read anything I've written. I don't know, but there's no indication that they read it, and I don't know how raw or naked I can be in terms of not the swearing article, but the article talking about what I'm facing, now I'm dealing with it. So I don't, it makes you feel lonely and
Yeah.
Oh,
depressed. My brother does, he's read them, but my sisters, and I'd like to have more intimacy with my sisters, and they're good people.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
What would
What
their
about your
response?
sons? What about your sons?
Yeah.
um, they read it. They said they read it. They, it isn't like they call me up, Mom, I had no idea you like to eat potato chips parking lot. You know, there's no real communication
Yeah.
based on the the, the essays. So I'm but my kids are wonderful.
Mhm.
and encouraging, very supportive of me. So I just feel like I'm thrilled what attention I get from my kids. I'm thrilled and grateful, and I feel like really try to work on getting some level of intimacy with them, and I think I'm really thrilled.
Good.
So
I know it's like, especially now I have 2 teenagers at home. I have 2 older kids, but like they're teenagers are like the peak of self-absorbed, right? So you can't
Mhm.
expect them to be like,
Right.
Mom, how was your day? How are you? How's your health? How are you feeling? No way, never, never, never. But I try not to hold that against them because I know they love me. But I don't know. It just makes me, I mean, Kimberly, you were going to say something. You go before I
Well,
say something.
I just want to know about your sisters, Elizabeth. How, because I can't imagine that they're not going to feel regret someday for not getting to know you more. And I'm curious if you went to them and said, or maybe you already have, hey, this
no,
just would mean so much to me if you read these. It's a way that I'm able to express myself now, and it would just mean the world for you to read them. How would they respond?
I can ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
mean, if
mean,
I could never deny, if somebody came to me and said that,
oh my gosh, I would never deny it either. But here's the thing I've learned, as sad as it sounds, is like, I don't think everyone is going to feel regret. Like, I mean, maybe they will, but maybe they won't. They just might not think of it. They might not think of it. And like, I have had the experience, not related to MS, of like going to my father and being like, I mean, this was years ago. Like, I want to deepen this relationship. This is meaningful to, and I was told, no, I don't have time. So that happens. And then how do you deal with that? So they might not have regret. I think, Elizabeth, you seem to have equanimity about sort of meeting people where they're at. Like, what are people capable of? I think that's what I'm trying to learn in life. Like, what are people capable of? What can I expect? What can I not expect? Because I tend to either expect too much or expect not enough. I'm trying to figure that out. Trying to figure that out.
I know that I'm Catholic. I've sinned. I feel like I've I've
have you sinned? Tell me your sins.
well, I did something that really hurt my sister's feelings. And I don't know what it was. So I'm not perfect. So she could be feeling long-term resentments. You know, I
But
had
you don't know what it was?
no,
Then maybe you didn't do anything. Maybe it's just her stuff. Is that possible?
yes, or it could be my stuff.
It
I
could
think,
be.
and
Yeah.
I had parents that pitted us against each other.
Yes, I have that too. Yeah.
So that means there's not an even playing field in terms
Yeah.
of how we can love each other. I think we do our best.
I know. You
Yeah.
know, like my sister and I feel like my parent, like my unintentionally, I think my mom pitted us against each other. Sometimes I dream of sweeping in and being like, let's cut through this bullshit. Like we are, you know, we're sisters and let's get through this. But I don't know. I don't know. I haven't yet. Anyway.
Annie, what was it like? Imagine it took a little bit of courage to go to your dad and say, hey, this is what's going on with me. I mean, that's
Well, I mean, like the context is this. This is before I was diagnosed. No. Yeah, I think it was before I was diagnosed. Anyway, well, right around my diagnosis, interestingly, because it was right around 2001. That's when I was diagnosed. So who knows? Like maybe that was a catalyst that I don't even know about, like that I don't even remember that, like, oh, it was a life-changing thing that kicked me into gear of like, let's try and revisit. I was also going through a divorce, which of course maybe is related to my MS diagnosis, but not, because I would have gotten divorced anyway. But whatever, my life was swirling, and I was really like, okay, my dad, who I've never known, who left my family when I was very young, who was like very distant, and that void I still carry with me. So I thought, because I'm going through a divorce, I'm going to try to take part of ownership of my part in this. What is my part in this? And so I invited my dad to lunch to talk to me about it. And I don't know. I don't know that I had any expectations. My request was like, can we try to have a relationship? And I quite literally was told, no, I don't have time. I have too much on my plate. That was it. So I guess like in a way that shut that door, it's still something I process, but it was also a type of clarity of like, okay, I can't be barking up this door.
Yeah.
So I guess it's like people are only capable of giving us what they're capable of giving us. And there are a lot of people who are not capable.
Yes. And the recipe for insanity is to keep going back to that person and trying to get what we're wanting from them, and they're not capable of it. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
painful, but
And I always think, if I only did this, that they'd respond, and it doesn't
No.
happen.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I do, like when you were talking though about your kids, Elizabeth, I was thinking of just like what I say to myself often, which is true. Of course, we want our kids to be engaged in their life. So I'm not even talking about kids, I'm talking about other people. But so often in this day and age, we're like, everybody has such busy lives and everybody's doing so much. And like, so it forces me to think they're not going to get back to me, or I can't ask a lot of them. I think I'm scared to ask a lot of people because everyone has their own lives and everyone's busy and it's scary. So I don't know how to get better at that. So if you have advice on how to get better at that, either of you, I want it because it's hard.
I agree. I feel the same way.
oh,
So, especially my kids, I love them so much. I want them to like me and be interested in my life. And I think they
I know they are.
think
I
they
know they
are.
are. How could they not be?
And I want to be perfect.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can I ask
okay.
you a question, both of you?
Yes.
Um, I Annie, I want to ask you, you're a physician, you're
Yes.
head of a nonprofit. You do a radio program, Boston Public Radio. You're doing all sorts of things. It's unbelievable. So, what really makes you happy? And I
That's a
know
good question.
it's a possible question, but what are
Yeah.
some of the things?
No, I mean, I think it's not impossible for me. I can say like what makes me happy is like touching people's spirits, connecting on that deep, meaningful level, whether that's my kids, my family, being there, showing up, connecting, feeling those moments where you're like, we're seeing each other. That's all I care about ultimately. That is what keeps me going. And it's hard in this day and age to find those moments. And I feel lucky that I have found work that enables me to do that. But I also like, that's what's my family is most meaningful to me. But even though some of it's so hard, but those moments, that intimacy, however we define it, connecting, really connecting. And like a question that popped into my head earlier that I didn't ask, we were talking like, just like, what does it feel like to be seen? I think ultimately like being seen and seeing other people, that is what keeps me, that is what I feel is our purpose for being here. And my purpose anyway, I can only speak to my purpose. That is my purpose. And I feel so nourished by that when I feel seen and when I see others and we have those moments of connection.
Can I ask, Do you ever think of legacy? You're very young. Probably shouldn't
Not
even.
that young.
You're,
Yeah.
you're,
Not really,
young.
no. I have thought, I'm like, damn, would anyone come to my memorial service? I hope so. No, but that's just my insecurity. It's like I've been to memorial services and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many people here. And even people that it surprises me, but I'm like, here's why. Like, all right, tangent. But I feel like I sometimes put off a vibe that I don't even mean to, of like, Annie's okay, Annie's got it, so we don't need to take care of Annie. And then I'm like, would anybody show up? Because I'm really not as okay as I seem. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay, but I think I project too much, like I'm too okay.
Yeah.
I do.
Well, tell me more about that. What does that mean?
Well, like I think it would take like a whole lot. And I've been thinking about this lately because I'd like had some struggles. Like, what would it take for me to like put it all down and be like, I need help? A lot. And I've asked for help in pieces, but I've never, like, I do think there's some like spiritual or whatever you want to call it, growth to being like pushed to that point of like, I surrender. But that's something I'm terrified of. I'll admit it, I'm terrified.
Just the terrifying of the actual surrender, or the of having people come fill the
The
void.
surrender. I would love the people coming, but I don't know how to ask for it.
Mhm. And so is the terror the possibility of the rejection of like your father saying no?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Like, I haven't unpacked this. I'm just telling you, like, I noticed that. I'm like, and like, I am extraordinarily good at pushing through. But like, what would it take to be like, I can't? Like, it's very hard for me to be like, I can't.
Mhm.
I can't. So I'm asking myself those questions these days. I don't have an answer.
It's
Wait.
good to not have an answer.
I'm filled with questions. For me, that I'm wow, it's so wild. And Kimberly, for you, you seem to have it together. Like I feel like Annie.
Well,
Brilliant writer. You're
oh,
kind and loving and
So are you.
oh,
And all back at you, all back at you.
we're
All
just
back at you.
mirrors.
But that's
I-
it. What's that
I-
space where we can all be like, we're like our messy selves. Here we are. I love thinking. Yeah.
I think for me, when I hit rock bottom, the symptoms were so intense that I was Annie, I was you, where I would just push through, and then these symptoms were so terrorizing that I had to ask for help. I mean, I didn't even ask. I didn't have the words to ask. I just stopped, and then people had to fill the void because I couldn't do, and so, early on it was hard because especially Dave didn't want to fill the void. He wanted me to be independent
And old Kimberly, good old Kimberly.
yeah, it's
She's
like
gonna do everything.
first
Yeah.
my hand to walk across the street, and then run back to the house right afterwards. And it was, but the physical symptoms just forced me to finally stop. And I think now, oops, where did Elizabeth go?
We lost Elizabeth.
Well,
I don't know what happened. I will text my Annie right away. Keep talking.
Yeah.
But I do feel like something has shifted, and
Do you
I
feel like
saw-
that persists? Because sometimes like you can have those moments and those lessons and then you fall right back into the Kimberly who's going to do everything.
no, and even though maybe it appears that way with all these different projects and stuff, but truly the work that I'm doing right now, it's like creative. It's like me felting my cats when I was, it's like, it's part of my therapy, part of my sanity is just to have these things to engage with every day. But I'm such a slower pace now. I mean, I spend easily the first 3 hours of my morning walking my cats and making weird concoctions for my chickens and watering things. And
The cats really need to be walked.
the cat, no, they definitely do not need to be walked. I also play with them with their string. I mean, I have a way quiet pace, very quiet. It may seem that it's frenetic with all these different projects, but it's totally not. And I always shut down. And so
That's very healthy. I
it
mean,
feels like it, but it was all forced upon me. You know, it wasn't, it truly was because my body was not capable of doing anything else. And then slowly it started to heal. And I'm like, I like this way of living.
that's awesome. That's awesome. I think part of it for me that's hard is like I still have 2 kids at home, teenagers, but and
Yeah.
so I feel, especially because of like the environment I was raised in, where I felt like people didn't always show up for me, that I am so like overcompensating sometimes to show up for them 100%.
Oh yeah.
And so that makes it hard. Like I feel like I have created a situation where I am holding the household together, but
Mhm.
it makes
Yeah.
it scarier to step out and be like, and it might be good for everybody if I was like, you guys are on your own, but
What was
it's
it
so
like
tied up.
We're gone in Alaska the last 3 days. How did things hold up at the house?
Well, one of my daughters was gone as well at a tournament in Montreal, ice hockey. But everything held up okay. See,
Yeah.
and that's what, I know that's part of my work is to, I mean, there's always a little bit of like chaos to pick up. But I do think it is interesting. Like, I think how we all carry forward from our childhood, like whatever, everything. But
Yeah.
that wanting to be that sort of solid, I'm always there person. And I sort of that carries over into my every life and everything. But yeah, so I think there's some value. Like, do I hope that my physical situation forces me into, I have to just say you're all on your own? Not really, but maybe not really. No.
No, I don't want that to happen. No.
But
No.
no, I don't.
Maybe just start carving out some different time. Don't let that. Yeah, we don't want that.
No.
I don't
Yeah.
know what's happened to Elizabeth. I'm not getting, had to reboot the router. So she'll be jumping
She'll be
soon.
back. Okay.
But I might as well just ask you all this, the 2 of you this, because I was going to ask Elizabeth too, even though I sort of know the answer, but not everybody does. Because Annie, Kimberly, and Elizabeth, all 3 of you are like involved in so many different things. And a lot of people don't know. So like Elizabeth mentioned, Annie, you have a nonprofit, you're a mom, you're a physician, you're here with us, you have so many things on your plate, and Kimberly, you have so many projects as well. Not necessarily thinking about legacy, but at the end of the day, a few years from now, what are you hoping the result will be from doing all of these things? Is there anything that you think about? Not necessarily legacy, but like any lasting impact, or what do you hope that looks like?
That's the perfect question for somebody. Annie, I think you and I are similar, but maybe I'm.
Well, I don't know. I don't
I'm
know.
not a
I'm going to answer.
planner.
I'm
not
going to
a-
answer and you see if it's similar. I will
Okay.
say, I do not think about that at all. I think about what brings me meaning in this moment, and that is what I want to do, and that's all I want to do. And I do feel like my illness and my situation has pushed me to a place of at least being comfortable enough in myself to say, I'm not going to do anything that I don't feel passionate about, that's not meaningful to me. And it feeds my soul to do this work. Because honestly, I find so much inspiration in connecting with other people, and that's what feeds me. And wherever that goes, I don't care. But
Yeah.
I mean, of course I care, but that's not what motivates me. Of course I care, but that's not what motivates me. But Kimberly, what's your answer?
Same. I mean, to a fault, I've never been able to strategize or plan in my life.
Oh, I can't do that.
I
No.
talk about that even in the memoir, where it's like I never had the 10-year plan, the 5-year plan. I never had the 3-month plan. So that's why, I got married 2 months ago. I never had kids,
Woo!
Was in and out of graduate school. Like I just am there's an impulsive part of me that or maybe it's just a deficit in my brain or my
Not
frontal
a deficit. No,
can't
it's an asset.
plan. So 2 years from now, my only goal is that I'm doing more projects, just because
Yes, we
they
are
make me
aligned.
happy. So there's not a big vision. And it probably, if I have ever some like business investor, it's like, what's your plan? I should have
I
it
know I have
now.
a big business investor meeting tomorrow. What am I gonna? Here's the thing. All I care about is that I touch other souls and that they touch me. Like
Yeah.
I do, like my only vision is like if this is meaningful to somebody else and I can help them feel a little bit better, that's all I care about.
And does
Yeah.
that help you? when
Real,
you're
the
feeling
real shit.
drained?
Like let's get real. Say it
Mhm.
again.
Does that help you when you're feeling drained?
Oh, totally.
Can't,
Yeah.
I mean, you must run out of energy from time to time.
Yeah, yeah. And like I overstate it. Like I am somewhat good. I do self-care. I do. I see friends a lot. I try to like exercise when I can. I try to get massage, so I'm not all like beating myself into the ground or other. So it's not quite as stark as I said, but I do sometimes like not step back and say what I need enough, I guess. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, we missed you.
Yeah. Welcome back.
The internet was down.
Ah.
Now I'm back.
Good.
Welcome
Oh.
back.
But I want to talk about my now needing to think about legacy. It's important for me to think I'm
Yeah.
doing something with my life. And the more disabled I become, my MS is increasing. Not horribly, but it knocks on my shoulder, say, remember me, don't forget me. I'm here.
Even though you're disappearing behind your background.
I am.
You are, but you are here. You're
I'm here. So
yeah. I
I
hear that. You've touched my heart so deeply.
Oh, Elizabeth, you have such a legacy. I mean, it's so clear the lives that you've touched and you continue to touch. And that will never, ever, ever die. I absolutely have experienced that and heard that firsthand.
well, I think I'm good if as long as I'm in partnership with people like you. I really love being together in touching lives. It's all I've wanted to do, and if I can touch the lives in the chronic illness community, I'm thrilled. So I have MS for a reason. That makes me really happy and excited.
Yeah.
I don't feel blessed having MS for sure, but I feel like I'm I I feel so delighted to meet you guys. And I want to do more and more and more. I
So we're all sort of on the same place, in the same place. It's in the moment. It's the legacy is what is happening right now. It's these connections. It's the nurturing and the joy that comes from connecting.
Yeah.
I'm
And-
curious. I'm just gonna start to Annie, you can go ahead and say something.
No,
but
I wasn't that good.
10,000 questions I want to ask.
Ask them because I was just like, I don't know, going on. Sorry, my
So
dog.
in the spirit of learning, as somebody called me the other day, a normie, in the spirit of learning and also being not necessarily funny, but it can be funny. I want to know, based on your diagnosis and what you're living with, what would the worst possible day for you look like?
Oh.
For us to learn from? What would it look like to you? The worst possible day could be.
For me, not being able to talk, there are days when I really, for some reason, can't generate speech. but most days I can. But not being able to talk is frightening to me.
What if you couldn't have any waffles?
Well, I love my waffles.
Elizabeth, do you have when you can't talk, do you have no, that wouldn't work. So there's no way of communicating when you can't talk. It's not like there's a chalkboard that you can write something down on, or do they
Yeah.
use a letter board where you can kind of scan the alphabet or anything like that? Or are you completely like unable to communicate?
Unable to communicate.
Hmm.
Oh,
I
that's
could be trained in my eyes, using my eyes, but it's hard because I've
Yeah.
had numerous damage to my retinas, which
Mm.
means I tend to have a not perfect retinal ability to lock my eyes in a certain manner, but I can do it.
Yeah.
And I've been too lazy to really take it on. But
Yeah.
I have
I don't know if
so
it's lazy. I don't know if it's lazy. Give yourself a break. You're not
Yeah.
lazy.
Well, this question that just came in is actually kind of a continuation of what you were just talking about, Elizabeth. Gabriella just chimed in and said she's enjoying soaking up all the wisdom here, and wants to know, how do you balance your fears when they arise, living with chronic illness? So when you have, let's say you're having aphasia and you're not able to speak, how do you work with that fear?
I'm learning. I mean, most of the time, I'm able to pick myself up, and otherwise, I just need to keep learning.
Mm.
And I feel I can do it. I feel like I can do it. I can do it.
So do you like talk to yourself while it's happening, saying, "You got this, Elizabeth," or what do you do in the moment?
I work with Lisa, who's not sympathetic. Lisa goes, "Oh yeah, all right,
You're
quiet."
fine. You're
Right.
you're fine. Get up.
Yeah,
That's how I parent. You're fine. Get up. No,
Well, I
Yeah,
do throw a lot of, because
you're good.
like you guys, she has a lot going on, and sometimes we're like, oh my gosh, now we're getting past COVID now, although people are getting sick again, but we have so many things lined up that, certain things that I know we have, I'm just like, we got it. Don't worry about it. We got it.
You
Got
got
it.
it. You got it. You got it. Yeah. Wow. I don't know. I'll give a little plug for denial.
That's a great
Sometimes
job.
it works.
Distraction and denial.
You don't want to get stuck there, but it can be very helpful at some points when you're just like, this is not the right moment for me to feel all of that.
Oh, it actually is not just helpful, but I think it's essential. I've been listening to this guy, Dan Buglio, on YouTube, and he works with pain, and then someone from the Dizzy community did an interview with him. So that's how I learned about him. But they talk about the importance of, especially people with health anxieties or have had multiple symptoms throughout time, and that there's a little bit of medical trauma around the symptoms arising. What we tend to do is, or myself, what I tend to do is fixate on them. And that is the worst thing you could possibly do, because when you physiologically fixate on a sensation, you're telling your brain you're in danger, because your brain's going, oh, I better keep an eye on this. Kimberly's telling me this is dangerous. And so you're keeping yourself in this sympathetic loop. And Annie, if I'm wrong, or if you're thinking this guy's a total quack, please let me know.
No, you're not wrong. No, it's right.
To me, it made so much sense, because like I really made, when the dizziness started, I made it worse because I paid attention to it. And I was essentially, caught in a loop of fight or flight for a long time. So I think there is a real power to distraction and denial and just being like, you know what? I'm just gonna pay attention to something else right now.
Yeah.
Not being like completely
No,
unwilling to investigate and explore, but it's a balance.
yeah, it is a balance. But I think at times to be able to be like, I'm going to focus on something else. But I think there's also like simultaneously a piece of acceptance, whether that is like, this is what is for me right now, and this is all I've got, and therefore I'm going to deny it. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right now,
Yeah.
I'm going to deny it. It's like, what's the point of thinking about it? I don't know.
Yeah. Netflix is great. I
What do you
balance
think?
fear by watching Netflix.
Totally. Like, because it is so easy to spiral out. You know, it is if you start going down that hole. And then what? Like, where does that leave us? Right.
Yeah.
We have to find the breaks at some point to be like, okay, this isn't helping me to fixate on this because there's nothing I'm going to change. So now what?
Yeah.
But I mean, I am to a fault a person who's like, and now what? And now what can I do? And like, I do have like one of my daughters who's in her 20s now, which she's sad and she calls me a ton. I'm like, she has called me out on being like, I'm too quick to problem solve. You know, like, well, what can we do? Isabel, what can we do next? And then she's like, can I not just sit in my misery for a minute? So I do realize that that is my growing edge. I tend to be like, all right, so what can we do?
Well, you're trained that way.
Which is adaptive. It can be, but it's also like, it's a balance, like you said, like sit with the pain and do something when you are ready. But I tend to go very quickly to, all right, let's solve this.
Yeah.
What are the options? What are the action steps? And that can be too much too. You got to feel it. You got to feel it.
Elizabeth, where are your thoughts these days? Do you have a thought that you keep circling back on every day? I mean, or a prayer or a wish, or like, do you find yourself, do you kind of loop back on anything in particular?
Yeah, where my new symptoms, which aren't terrible. I have lots of migraines now, which my neurologist says is MS. And I think about, okay, what am I going to do with my life? I so want to move, keep going. I want to talk with you to say, how can we deal with medical students? Can we, whatever, what could I do? Because then I'm not boring. I hate being boring.
You are like the opposite of boring, just so you
You're
know.
so not boring.
You're not
Who
boring.
says
You'll
you're
never be
boring?
boring.
Where did you get that?
Well, I don't find people love complaining. And I don't allow myself to complain very much.
Maybe we should like have like a designated like complaining hour, and we can just, or all right, 15 minutes, whatever. We can call in and have like a 15-minute.
Let's have a whole episode on complaining. Just like let's take the lid off and give ourselves permission.
Let's just bitch.
Bitch session. Let's have an MS Confidential bitch session. I can't say it.
I think you should do your like #1 bitch thing right now. Just like, do this piss me off.
Oh, so much. Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to go into an hour-long conversation.
No, it's funny though. I notice about myself, I tend to be like even about trivial things. I would say it's a passionate thing. I like love things, or sometimes I hate things, you know? And so like I was saying the other day about like the lacrosse coach of my son's team did something. I'm like, I hate him. And my husband was like, just like you hate the blah, 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 and the blah, blah, blah. They were all trivial things, but I tend to be like, I hate that. I do say that a lot, but I also love a lot. But I'm trying to, maybe the middle ground is where I need to go.
I think more women can allow for themselves to just hate and be angry at things. I don't think we are trained as little
You're
girls to
right.
drive
Which is why I
her,
play ice
so,
hockey, because you can get out there and like hurt, be aggressive
Well,
and it's like
Yeah.
allowed. And you
Yeah.
can be like, "Urgh, I'm mad. Yeah, I think we should have like, I don't know if I'm prepared to go there right at the moment, but I could try. But I love the idea of having like a designated allowed bitch time where like no one's gonna say anything positive. We're just gonna talk about all the shit that's bothering us.
right.
I think Kyle would really appreciate this, so we need to save it for when Kyle's with us.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see him being really mad at us if we didn't wait.
Kyle is so young.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
he's
so
young.
want to see what brings him joy and
I love
laughter.
Kyle. I love Kyle. He's hilarious. What brings Kyle joy? I don't know, but he seems to be pretty good at grabbing it sometimes, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah. But he's also like super honest about the shit.
yeah,
So we need him in our bitch session.
Yeah.
yeah. What?
Gabriella just chimed in again. I don't know if you guys are reading the chat, but she said she's happy you chimed in on that, Annie. She said, I usually find myself preferring to handle those moments by myself, usually crying alone or writing. Thank you, Annie, for making that point of how we can actually make something harder on ourselves versus releasing that burden from ourselves.
Totally.
And I agree, all of you, there's a balance to the chaos. So it's been a sweet break for her to lean into all of our words. I'm so
Yay,
glad you
thank
shared that. That
you.
just is amazing.
That's really nice. That's so nice to hear feedback. Thank you, Gabrielle.
And then, Gabrielle, what I need to do is trust their people want to hear my complaints about my migraines. I
Yeah.
tend to not tell people.
Oh,
if you
migraines are
want.
horrible.
Mhm.
You gotta complain.
Tell us about him right now, Elizabeth. Tell me, I know this is newer for you, so I didn't know this was going on.
They're called cluster headaches.
Oh, those are
I've,
the worst.
I've been taking for 6 days in a row,
That's the
and
worst.
it seems better now.
I'm
But
sorry.
It was tough last week, though.
Pain is hard, right? I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, I've never really dealt with pain.
yeah.
I really haven't.
Mhm.
Feel like I have so much to be thankful for. Because, Gabrielle, I know you've been in so much pain
Mhm.
with your disease. And MS is people talk about how much pain they live with, lack of, they can't have joy. They're in so much pain. I've
Mhm.
never felt that way.
Mhm. So now you're getting a dose of pain.
Yeah,
It's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel
What,
like I want to acknowledge Char's comment on there.
what was that?
It was, I feel like I bore my family, or at least not interesting, which I
Yeah.
think is a really brave and vulnerable thing to say. So I just don't want to leave it hanging there.
Yeah. Thank you. I didn't see that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Go, Kimberly.
Well, I think a lot of us with chronic illness feel like we're boring. And I joke with my friends that I have an elderly lifestyle, or I keep nursing home hours. And I do. That's my lifestyle. And I'm happy with it. But I definitely would not win an award for being like living the most exciting lifestyle. And so I can relate, I guess is what I'm saying, Char. I definitely feel like it's tricky because I think I prefer the boring lifestyle. I don't think even if I were well, I wouldn't be out jumping off cliffs and going to nightclubs. But I can imagine, especially even some people that I know that are extroverts and then they hit with chronic illness or even the pandemic, that was really, really hard for them. So I feel like that would create some tension inside if you're longing to not be boring, to not keep nursing home hours.
There was
Yeah.
a question too, that said, because I think you guys were talking about this earlier about bringing things up with your family. Are you nervous to bring topics up with your sisters or family? I think when Elizabeth was talking about her sisters.
Yes.
Does it stop you? So does your nervousness about things related to MS or your whatever illness you're living with, does it stop you from bringing things up?
Well, I feel like I grab too much attention. That's the fear I have. And I don't need to have them read my articles. Obviously, I think they haven't read it. So,
But I'm just curious, Elizabeth, since I work with you, do you ask them ever? Hey, have you read it?
Oh, that's hard.
I can. I'm afraid
Yeah,
uh,
I'd
they
do.
they both have rendezvous. They don't invite me. That really, really hurts my feelings.
Yeah, F them. No, I'm just had to say that.
They've been on vacation with each other, not inviting me a number of times. I'm really hurt.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
ah,
But
I feel protective of you.
me too. And to go back to the question, like I feel protective of myself sometimes and am afraid to ask certain things of my family because I
yeah,
know I'm gonna be disappointed.
not with your daughters though.
Not with my kids, no. Pretty open with them.
And they read your book.
The two older ones did, but not the younger ones. So, yeah, I'm built in disappointment with teenagers. Like they're not going to cater to my needs right now. But the older two, yeah, they're good. But I trust enough in those relationships to be like, I could push back and say that hurt me that you didn't, blah, blah, blah. And even though my sister and brother, I'm really sort of close to, I don't think I could say, like maybe with my brother, I could say that really hurt me, but it's hard for me. So I don't always go there because I know I'm going to be disappointed. And then I don't, like, he only calls me when he has a medical question about him or his family. I'm like, so he never calls to be like, how are you? So, yeah. We could like family systems. That's a whole nother conversation we should have.
I think I hold back sometimes because I'm afraid of like I don't want to throw my nervous system like that. To me, ever since all this stuff came down 8 years ago, I feel like I do have some fear of it spiraling out of control again because it happened and was so out of my control. So I'm afraid I'll push stuff under the rug just to preserve myself. If that makes sense.
That's good self-care. That's good self-care.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, I do notice that I do it sometimes because I'm just like, I don't want to hurt myself.
That's good.
Because I don't know where this is going to go. And
It's rational.
It's rational,
It's
I guess.
rational.
Yeah.
Some people will never give you what you want.
Yeah.
And you have to love them despite who they are. Because I've obviously hurt them. I didn't know.
But we need to have those relationships in our lives where we can like trust that we can, like, even if we piss someone off, it's going to be okay. I feel that with you guys.
Yeah, I was gonna
Like
say
that we could go through that. Like I think that's really important, like to have those relationships where, like you're not always gonna get it right, but
Right.
you have enough trust.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to ask everyone, what do you think what I should be doing with my life? And
Oh, that's a big question. And I gotta go feed my family in a minute.
well, I mean, or maybe that's laughing at me, Lisa.
No, I think it's a beautiful
Maybe-
question.
I mean,
I
it's
think you're-
like, it's a funny question because I'm like, you're doing so much with your
I
life.
know, you're
That
doing it.
question is like, it's almost ironic.
It is. You're doing it. You are living it. You are living it.
Mhm.
I want to live it together. I
All
want
right.
to know what you're doing so we can do it together
All right.
with each other.
Mhm.
Amen.
Can we maybe start like a commune and all move in with each
Oh.
other? Is that possible?
I would love that.
Me too. Me too. Me too.
My biggest fear is that I'm going to be in a nursing home.
Mm,
I mean, hopefully I won't, but I'm total care patient. Can't do anything by myself. So
Mm.
I really want to know there are people I can live with and
Yeah.
mm. That would be such an amazing, I mean, hold on to that vision, Elizabeth. If they're okay, so I have a practical answer then. Start thinking about the vision of what you want when you need more care.
Yeah.
Like, and paint that picture really clearly so that you can articulate that and what you want, and then
Right.
communicate it to all the people that love you. Okay.
Totally. And I will say, like, Elizabeth, if you said to me, and then I have to go after this, I do. If you said to me, I need you, I will come. I live on the other coast, but I will come. If
Me
you
too.
said that to me, I will come.
I will come to you, to any of you.
No, you don't
Where
have
I-
to. We'll come to you. Easier.
We can both do it.
Absolutely.
Give
I
and
would-
take.
Yeah. Give and
Yeah.
take.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. This has been such a sweet conversation. My
I've
sister.
liked it.
I love it.
I
Thank
loved
you,
it.
guys.
Me too.
Missed Kyle, but yes, it was great.
Yeah, maybe we just need a little, no Y chromosomes today. Thank you very much.
All right, but I'm holding y'all to the bitch session with
I
Kyle.
know it's
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Well,
All
thank you
right.
everyone for chiming in and your questions and all of that. That's really beautiful. So happy to have you here. Oh, I was going to add, oh no, Lisa, you can add the link. Someone asked about my book and I'll just
Oh, yeah.
add
It's
that link.
amazing. Oh my God. Like I literally couldn't put it down. It's true. It's
We'll
true.
put the link in under the video when it posts. How's that
All
sound?
right.
Yeah.
I
Thank
couldn't
you,
put it
guys.
down. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Love you.